13 of 2022, which outlines protocol for public comment periods in accordance with the Sunshine Act and the Second Class Township Code. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 13 of 2022. It outlines protocols for public comment periods in accordance with the Sunshine Act and the Second Class Township Code. And the resolution, we have two of them. I would like to make the motion to have it be the resolution that requires a board vote prior to having to potentially remove someone for disorder.
Make a motion to second resolution 13. Protocol being that the board supervisors have to vote on removing somebody from the audience.
Okay, so Dare motions and Lawson second. Discussion, please.
Anyone before I start? So I do have some comments about that. We as a board of supervisors do not get to define what a disruption is. On whatever we choose a disruption is. It also does, our decision does not give a roving commission for a police officer to enforce Robert's Rules of Order. We run these meetings by Robert's Rules of Order. We have no right to define as a board a person being disruptive versus a distraction. The police officer can only take them out based on the penal code, regardless of what we would decide. Also, for us to do it by board motion, our board would have to add to the agenda that evening to take somebody out of the meeting. We would then have to have a discussion, a vote, and then it would have to be added to the agenda to take that person out of the meeting. I personally do not define First Amendment rights as being de minimis in nature. Chances are that if by board action we decide to take someone out, that is a potential lawsuit. Therefore not de minimis in nature, so there's no way to add it to the agenda the night of the meeting. The First Amendment ensures that a debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open. The difference, you can't define an average distraction as being a disruption. You have to ensure that all control measures are spread equally through the audience members, or you open yourself up to a potential litigation that one audience member that's taken out or asked to leave was treated differently than someone else that speaks on a side or a view of us that we like versus what we don't want to hear, which would open us up to litigation. That also a disruption could be applied to a board member as well as an audience member. When a board member makes abhorrent personal attacks or accusations from another board member or from a staff member towards a board member, when board members continue to return to points that they have already made at length, can be a disruption. When a board member continues to speak too long and causes extended, unduly repetitious discussion of irrelevance, I'm sorry, did you have something to say, Mr. Dare? I'm sorry, I was distracted. I thought you said something to me. Such conduct may interfere with the rights of other board members. So at what point do we define by board motion during a meeting that we're going to add to the agenda to take someone out of this room? That is the chairman of the board's responsibility to determine between a disruption or a distraction, and I am not willing as a board member to add that to an agenda the night of the meeting, because I do not find that to be de minimis in nature.
I'd like to add to that. I mean, Robert's rules were wrote for a reason. I think the whole board should vote if they think it's disruptive. The audience, if they can't refrain themselves, something has to be done. I don't think we're initiating this to remove people. I think we're initiating it to conduct a decent meeting. I'm in all favor of the board totally voting if somebody's disruptive. And I think we need this. That's my opinion.
Is there a definition of disruption? I know that Robert's Rules of Order is the way we conduct these meetings. However, Robert's Rules of Order is not in the penal code. And if we use a police officer to escort someone out of here, that puts that police officer at risk of a lawsuit, the police department at a risk of a lawsuit, and this township at a risk of a lawsuit. And I don't find that de minimis in nature.
Sarah, do you have any comment on this resolution somehow overriding Robert's rules or working in conjunction with Robert's rules?
I think it works in conjunction with Robert's rules. This was pulled directly from PSAT's website. I know Terry, if she's not here to speak on it, pulled this directly from PSAT's website. I know it's very commonplace to limit a public comment to approximately 4 minutes. So I think that, it's something that we can definitely look into in regards to supervisors and brief comments regarding the penal code. If you wish our office to look into this further, we would be more than happy to do so. But I know that if Terry was here to speak on it, she would say that this was pulled directly from PSAT.
Thank you so much. I myself
will
called
check
PSAT
that.
and I spoke in length with the Policy and Procedure Department. I have been talking to them for several weeks on concerns, being that I'm the chairperson, and I hear from residents routinely that the meetings are not under control, and people who listen to the meetings virtually are concerned that business doesn't start until maybe an hour, hour and a half at sometimes into the meeting. And for those reasons, I do think something needs to be put in place. And again, bolstering what Attorney Scott said, both of these resolutions came directly from PSATs on their recommendations. And as far as putting that, leaving the chairperson with that heavy weight of stopping a disruption alone, I agree with option B that specifies that it would have to be an entire board vote, and that's my opinion. Any other comments?
So my comment is, heavy is the crown of the chairperson. That is the chairperson's duty to decide and maintain the order of this meeting. And I do believe, in my opinion, that sometimes business doesn't happen for an hour because of various board members talking on irrelevant topics for reports that go way past the amount of time they should.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, any more discussion? Okay, Bobby, approve, or motion to approve this, was that fine with myself?
You
second.
You motion, Mr. Lawson second.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Pre?
No.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
Ms. Dare?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Boom.